Why 2025? Why a treaty that has international guarantors? And what are the implications short term and long term if India continues with this hegemonic design?
Thank you. I think the IWT treaty itself is the gold standard, not only for India and Pakistan, but for the world. And for many decades, since 1960, it has served well, both India and Pakistan. And it should be fully respected and continued by the two parties. Now, what India tries to do is very dangerous. They are not only putting the IWT treaty in abeyance, they are actually making steps, taking steps to try to build the dam, to build the canal, to divert the water in the Indus River from flowing to Pakistan. And India has been calling about this for more than 1 year. And Prime Minister Modi has been declaring that he does not want to see any single drop of water to flow from the Indus River to Pakistan. Now, simply by threatening to do this is already very dangerous. Now, if India really takes concrete steps to implement this attempt, this will be a war crime. This will be a crime against humanity, because I don't think any country, and in this particular case, India is in the midstream country as far as the Indus River is concerned, because much of the water originates from the Himalayas, which is in China. If India wants to deny water from the Indus River to the hundreds of millions of people in Pakistan, in my best judgment, it will be a war crime and it will be a crime against humanity. And I don't think international community, mankind as a whole, should ever tolerate this. But before India does that, before India causes imminent and huge harm to the hundreds of millions of people in Pakistan, we should all do our best to exhaust everything possible to make sure that the IWC treaty will be fully respected and abided by, and also maybe China and Pakistan can talk about how we can work together to preempt India from doing the wrong thing, or from preventing India from doing the wrong thing.
Dr. Victor Gao, if you talk about China, that has been a steadfast friend for Pakistan, not since now, but since decades. And this is a friendship that is time-tested and bound by decades of tradition. And it gets to strengthen itself with every passing day. Under the current circumstances, we've also heard statements from the Chinese side as far as, this upper riparian and the lower riparian is concerned, because India is playing the game of the upper riparian and lower riparian. And of course, with the Brahmaputra River also, China has the upper edge of the upper riparian and lower riparian as well. How important would the role of regional countries such as China be in the days to come if India continues with such designs?
Well, I think there are several dimensions to it. One is how India and Pakistan should deal with each other as far as the allocation and distribution of water is concerned in the Indus River. That's bilateral. That's purely within the IWT treaty framework. Secondly, considering that much of the water in the Indus River originates from Himalayas in China, maybe eventually we should have a tripartite arrangement rather than purely bilateral, involving China, India and Pakistan to better deal with the distribution and the allocation of water from the Indus River. Thirdly, the third dimension is that much of the water in India actually originates from the Himalayas, from the what we call Tibet Qingdao Plateau, the big plateau, up north, and not only Brahmaputra, but the Ganges also has lots of water originating up north.
True.
Therefore, I think maybe we should have a regional, sub-Asian regional framework involving China, India, Pakistan, and Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, you name it, to come up with a more larger and regional framework of the codes of conduct as to how to deal with this issue. Now, on an even larger scale, I understand that up to about 18 countries in this part of the world receive water which originates from the Tibetan Qinghai Plateau. 18 countries involving more than 4 billion people in total. So I think maybe eventually we should have a larger regional framework talking about the code of conduct, the allocation of water, how we can do to better monitor the receding or the melting of the glacier up north on the high mountains, for example. How can we better allocate the distribution of the water eventually? So there are many things to be considered and to be done eventually. But of immediate urgency is how to prevent India from putting into execution what they threatened to do, to deny the flow of the water from the Indus River to Pakistan. That will be imminent harm, a very large harm, and sometimes it may even cause irreversible harm. So India should be stopped from doing the wrong thing, and the IWT treaty clauses and the provisions should be strictly abided by. On the other hand, I think maybe Pakistan should also consider hiring the best lawyers in the world to exhaust all the legal process to make sure that India will be facing very dire consequences if they dare to put this into execution.
Ishaq Dar Sahab, our Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, calls this hydro hegemony because he also talks about the designs that India has on stopping the water of so many rivers by creating small dams over the course of the years. Isn't this a very dangerous precedent that is being set? If it is set in letter and spirit, won't this give the opportunity to so many other countries to do whatever they want, despite any treaty that is present between two countries?
Exactly. If you look at our part of the world as well as globally, rivers, especially major rivers, actually flow from one country to another, etc., upstream, midstream, downstream, etc., before they feed into the ocean. So this is the normal thing, and how to manage the flow of the water, distribution of the water should be absolutely the important thing. And no country should be allowed to stop the flow of the water, to deny the flow of the water to the lower reaches, to deny the access of water to hundreds of millions of people. My concern is that India wants to do this for geopolitical purposes. They want to put maximum pressure on Pakistan to try to force Pakistan to bow or to kowtow to India so that they can serve their hegemonistic and geopolitical purposes. This should not be tolerated because India should not be playing around as if it is the ultimate ruler of the Asian subcontinent, and everyone, including China, which sits up north on the Tibetan Qinghai Plateau, should work closely with Pakistan in dealing with this imminent harm that India may want to cause for the people in Pakistan.
Last question, Dr. Victor Gao. You talked about legal avenues that Pakistan needs to. You said Pakistan needs to hire the best of the lawyers. Pakistan has a very solid framework, but the Permanent Court of Arbitration also has taken Pakistan's side not once, but more than once. Do you feel that the legal mechanisms that decide the fate of issues such as the Indus Waters Treaty are important enough? Should Pakistan continue relying on the Permanent Court of Arbitration, on the United Nations for a judicial solution to this, or are there other solutions that could be put into place if India does not understand this very aspect?
Absolutely. I think exhausting all the legal avenues and possibilities will be crucially important. However, only resorting to legal procedures may be either time-consuming or it may be disrupted one way or another. And if you really believe that India will take concrete steps to start to deny the flow of water in the Indus River to Pakistan, you may not be able to wait for too long. So while proceeding with all the legal remedies, which will be absolutely important, you may also need to think about alternative arrangements to deter India from other means from executing what they threaten to do. I think their goal has already been very explicit because India has been talking about denying the flow of water in Indus River to Pakistan. The Prime Minister Modi, had threatened not to allow the flow of any single drop of water to Pakistan.
Recently also Minister has said the same.
Exactly. So this is not fake. This is not exaggerated or fabricated.
This is a design.
This is a design. This is a very clear-cut, well-defined roadmap and action. So I think nobody should take this in complacency. Immediate actions need to be done to stop India from doing the wrong thing and from causing imminent harm and ravaging the fundamental interests of the hundreds of the millions of the people in Pakistan.
This is my very last question. I already thought it was the last, but when you say alternate measures, immediate measures that to be taken, what do you have in mind?
Well, my concern is that India holds itself as the real upstream country as far as the Indus River is concerned. My understanding is not. It's not, because the water really comes from up north in the Himalayas and it feeds into different tributaries which eventually feed into the Indus River. So it definitely has a China dimension to it, but the IWT itself is a bilateral treaty between India and Pakistan.
With guarantors.
Yeah, with guarantors, of course. Eventually, I think if we have the luxury to think about either amending the treaty or expanding the treaty, etc., maybe it should move from bilateral to trilateral, involving China, India, and Pakistan together, to make sure, and in addition to all the guarantors, etc. So that probably will be a better way. Now, the other thing is, as I emphasized, almost all the rivers in the northern part of India originates from the Himalayas, from the Qinghai Tibetan Plateau. So definitely, if India wants to do this to Pakistan, according to the 2,500-year-old Chinese philosophy, if India wants to do this to Pakistan, maybe the real upstream country, that is China, may do the same thing to India. So this will cause a vicious circle, which is not pleasant. And I hope that prospect in itself may actually help deter India from doing the wrong thing to start with. So if it is purely between India and Pakistan, you have one momentum. But if eventually it will involve India, Pakistan, and China, the real upstream country, if I may use that term, it may change the dynamics.
All right.
Causing a new momentum. Yeah.
I think a new momentum is what is required as far as this Indus Waters treaties putting into abeyance is concerned, and you've put a lot of options on the table, and I'm sure Pakistan is viewing that and many other options, and with a partner, a friend like China on its side, I'm sure everything is achievable when it comes to making India understand what it has done and what it has done wrong. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you.
Rao,
Thank you so
thank you
much.
very much for your time.